When Rio Vidal joined the coven during the second trial in Agatha All Along, she hinted at something dark by saying how the bodies were really piling up, and as it seems, the latest episode has really lived up to that chilling promise. Another member of Agatha's coven has fallen victim to the treacherous Witch's Road, and it was Agatha herself who delivers the fatal blow. As if that wasn't enough, Teen sort of became responsible for thinning the ranks even more by the episode's end. But with his true identity revealed in the last moments of episode 5, it was relatively easy to overlook how much death is creeping into the series. I mean, his identity was easily one of the biggest mysteries of the show, and now that we've gotten all the clues we need, it seems like he turned out to be exactly who everyone has been speculating about from the beginning. Until now, this gothic twink was Agatha's devoted fanboy, who stepped in to rescue her by breaking Wanda's spell, and because of a secret sigil appearing on his mouth every time he tries to talk about his background, Agatha believed him to be her own son. But Rio already cleared that up in episode 4, and through episode 5, we all assume that Nicholas Scratch is certainly not a part of the living world anymore. Now that we can assume for sure about Teen being Wanda's son, Billy Maximoff, I think it's time we check out his history in the Marvel Universe. So without wasting another moment, let's get right to it. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Can you see them anymore? No.
Billy Maximoff's story in the MCU. In WandaVision, we saw Wanda, aka Scarlet Witch, use her reality warping powers to bring Vision back to life, and put the entire town of Westview under a spell, allowing them to live out a fantasy world modeled after Wanda's favorite sitcoms. As part of that magic, she created 2 sons. Tommy inherited super speed, like his late uncle Pietro, while Billy showed abilities similar to Wanda's, although his magic glowed blue instead of her signature red. But just like in the comics, the twins were creations of Wanda Maximoff's magic, disappearing when her spell over Westview was broken. When the boys were 13, Wanda lifted the hex over Westview, which caused Vision, Tommy, and Billy to simply vanish. This set up the events of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where Wanda, desperate to reunite with her sons, turned to the Darkhold, which is a book of dark magic, in order to try to take her twins from a reality where they existed as real flesh and blood children. Well, if you saw the film, you know how things did not go according to her plan, and by the end, Wanda's journey led to her apparent death, which now brings us to Agatha All Along, 3 years later, where Agatha Harkness breaks free from Wanda's spell and sets out to walk the Witch's Road in an effort to restore her full power. Initially, Wanda had cursed Agatha to live out her days as the nosy neighbor, Agnes, trapped in a warped reality. That is, until a young goth horror fan shows up and frees the witch with an incantation. We don't know much about this character because, like I said, someone very powerful has cast a sigil on him, which is a kind of protection spell which stops Agatha or anyone from hearing any details the teen shares about himself. Still, we've picked up a few clues as Teen mentions that he was originally born in the nearby town of Eastview, and something major happened to him when he was 13, which is the same age that Billy was when Wanda's hex vanished, erasing him. When Agatha didn't know who Teen really was, he claimed he wanted to travel the Witch's Road to gain power, but now we have to wonder if his real goal is to bring back his mother Wanda, who supposedly died when the Darkhold Temple collapsed on her in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. At this point, the whole gaining power thing feels a bit too simple, especially since Teen can already break a spell cast on Agatha by the Scarlet Witch, and it seems like there's much more going on than just a thirst for power. Plus, we also know that Teen has a boyfriend, and in the comics, Billy, aka Wiccan, is one of Marvel's most well-known queer characters, who's been with his boyfriend Teddy, the superhero Hulkling, for nearly 2 decades. So to sum it up, both Billy and Teen are powerful magic users, they share a similar look, they're both connected to the Scarlet Witch, and they're both queer. While Agatha All Along has not really revealed anything that rules Teen out as an original character, it also hasn't given us anything to say that he couldn't be the MCU's version of Billy either. Which brings me back to the ending of episode 5, which showed off Teen's Billy Maximoff look, even if he didn't explicitly say anything out loud. After the last Witch's Road trial goes terribly wrong, Teen confronted Agatha about what happened. Of course, Agatha tries to defend herself, saying she had no control over the mistake that led to Alice's death, but Teen isn't buying it. He tells her she absolutely did have control, and when the others back Agatha, claiming they're all walking the road to grow their own power, Teen pushes back, saying he won't kill people just to serve his own goals. Hearing this, something seems to click for Agatha, and she shakes her head, laughing about how he was so much like his mother. Now, instead of handling things calmly, Teen unleashes a whole new level of magical power that we hadn't seen from him before. He takes control of Jennifer and Lilia, forcing them to attack Agatha, eventually shoving her into the sinking mud, which then swallows her in. Then he blasts the 2 of them into the mud as well, and as the camera pulls back, we see Teen wearing a a version of Wanda's Scarlet Witch crown, with Billie Eilish's You Should See Me in a Crown playing in the background. While Wanda's powers manifested in red, Teen's magic is blue in color. But whether he has known about his abilities all along and has been hiding them, or this was just a sudden burst of power, is still up in the air. Although one thing's for sure, he most definitely slayed that Scarlet Witch headpiece. How is Billy Maximoff even alive in Agatha All Along? Well, a lot of us had suspected the teen might be Wiccan, but there are still plenty of unanswered questions, and the big one is how on earth is Billy even alive after Wanda undid her spell at the end of WandaVision? The most likely explanation is similar to how he was brought back in the comics, by being reincarnated as a technically different person, but with the same soul. Now, another big question is, if Teen is Billy, where is Tommy Maximoff? While Tommy doesn't have the same rich comic book history as his brother, WandaVision did give him super speed, just like brother Pietro. So if Billy is alive and out here playing goth twink on the witches, there's a good chance that Tommy is somewhere out there too. Lastly, this brings up one of the biggest questions Marvel fans have been asking for a while. Did Wanda Maximoff really die at the end of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? The movie made it seem like she sacrificed herself after being corrupted by the Darkhold, but her fate is still pretty unclear. With Billy's likely return and Vision all set to come back in the upcoming Vision Quest series, now seems like the perfect time to bring Wanda back. We might even finally see the Maximoff family reunited after their heartbreaking separation in WandaVision. Did Teen really just kill every main witch in Agatha All Along? For me, one of the most surprising moments in Teen's reveal as Billy was his attack on Agatha, Jen, and Lilia. Agatha All Along has repeatedly teased that death will be a constant theme throughout the season, especially considering that we think Rio Vidal's true identity is Lady Death, but it still feels too soon to declare Agatha, Lilia, and Jennifer dead just yet. On the flip side, Alice is definitely gone for good. Just like Agatha wiped out her mother's entire coven in the flashback to Salem in WandaVision, she drains Alice of both her powers and her life force in a shocking twist that is not entirely her fault. Alice's effort to save Agatha, only for it to backfire and result in her death, serves as a harsh lesson on how the road wants its participants to never look out for anyone but themselves, which also seems to be the unwritten rule among witches in the MCU. Like Sharon, Alice is now dead, and she might not be the last one to go. Plus, it wouldn't be surprising if Agatha All Along ends up wiping out the entire coven, leaving only Agatha, Teen, and Rio standing. But I think it's a little too soon for Jen and Lilia to die just yet. To top that off, Rio is still an unpredictable wildcard, and was notably absent in the episode's final scene, which suggests she could swoop in to save either all three witches or more likely just Agatha. Rio might have stayed behind with Alice's body during Teen's reveal of his true identity and powers, and it sort of seems inevitable that she'll have to step in to rescue her fellow witches in the next episode. Maybe, if we're lucky, we'll get to see her true identity revealed. Regardless, it seems Agatha will find a way to escape her predicament, because the good news is that we already have seen footage of Agatha beyond the end of episode 5, like the Wizard of Oz inspired episode pictured above, so she's definitely not dead yet. Who is Billy Maximoff, Kaplan, in the Marvel Comics? If you're familiar with the story of the twin sons of Scarlet Witch and Vision, you know it's one of the most complicated narratives in comic book history. It involves magic, reincarnation, hidden identities, and a whole cast of supervillains. Let's try to break it down in the simplest way possible. It all begins with the unlikely romance between Vision and Wanda Maximoff, which eventually leads to their marriage. Like many young couples, Wanda and Vision wanted to have children, but suddenly they faced a major hurdle since, Vision is a synthoid and can't reproduce genetically. However, they find a way around this by harnessing Wanda's powerful magical abilities and her mutant power to alter reality. Using these powers, she brings forth a pair of twin boys, whom they name William and Thomas. Tragically, it turns out the twins are partially a manifestation of the demonic Mephisto, who secretly corrupted Wanda's spell to manipulate her, which is something many power-hungry villains have tried to do over the years. Oh, and by the way, it was actually Agatha Harkness who pointed out the twins being a manifestation of Mephisto's soul shards. She was a nanny to the kids back then. Ironically, Wanda even went through a full childbirth process, with Doctor Strange helping her along the way. But once their true nature was discovered, Billy and Tommy found themselves caught in a dangerous game between powerful entities, which put Wanda's sanity at risk. Her magic was so strong that it distorted the souls she had used to create her children. While their dispersal helped defeat Mephisto, it also caused the twins to vanish, seemingly for good. After Mephisto and his servant, Master Pandemonium, are defeated, the twins sadly fade away as the spell that brought them into existence is broken. But that was not the end for Billy and Tommy. and just the beginning of the complicated saga surrounding the children of the Scarlet Witch, as Wanda Maximoff's fragile mental state became a central theme in her storylines after that. This culminated in Avengers Disassembled and House of M, where the spellcasting mutant ultimately erased many other mutants from existence, and casted a spell that stripped nearly 200 mutants of their powers, before vanishing without facing any consequences for her actions. She was driven in part by her anger over losing her children, combined with the trauma of being manipulated by various villains. This shocking turn of events caused the team to disband for several years. With the Avengers gone, a group of teenage heroes known as the Young Avengers formed. Now, years later, the twins were reborn, but they had no memories of their past lives, and were raised by different families. Growing up in a normal household, Billy Kaplan had no idea of his connection to Wanda or the Avengers, until the events of Young Avengers thrust him into the whole superhero world. How did Billy become Wiccan and figure out his whole parentage debacle? Initially going by the Thor-inspired codename Asgardian, which all the Young Avengers used to pay homage to the classic Avengers, Billy quickly adopted the name Wiccan to reflect his growing magical powers. At first, Billy did not have any clear connection to the Scarlet Witch, but during the early adventures of the Young Avengers, he met a speedster named Tommy Shepard, who weirdly looked just like him. This encounter led to the big reveal where they were actually the reincarnated souls of the magical twins Wanda Maximoff had once created, and were now reborn into two different families. The specifics of Billy and Tommy's link to the Scarlet Witch are a bit complicated, just like everything else in her family tree. It turns out that Wanda's original spell captured two lost souls and used them as the foundation for her magical twins. When the infant twins faded away, they didn't completely vanish, but instead they were reborn at that very moment as two living children to separate expecting mothers. Now, there were definitely hints about Billy's parentage in the early Young Avengers issues, but nothing official was confirmed at first. Billy Kaplan's journey of self-discovery started with his debut, when he was bullied and found comfort in dreams where he was visited by the Scarlet Witch, his favorite Avenger. But it took years for him to uncover the truth behind this connection. During the acclaimed Young Avengers, the Children's Crusade arc, the Avengers brought Billy in for testing after he had one of his chaotic magic episodes where he put people in danger, following the Scarlet Witch's reality warping powers nearly wiping out mutant kind in House of M. The Marvel Universe was on high alert for such incidents. While under scrutiny, Billy managed to track down Wanda, who had been missing since House of M. In a true testament to their bond, Billy did what the Avengers couldn't, as he found her, even though she was without her memories and under Dr. Doom's control. Unfortunately, Dr. Doom not only overpowered Wiccan, but also temporarily stripped him of his powers. But after some time travel antics with Iron Lad and an epic showdown between a giant Doombot and the Avengers, Scarlet Witch finally regained her memories and powers, just like Wiccan does. This is when Wanda comes to embrace him as her child, and they start to build a deeper bond, beyond their shared abilities in the following issues and events. While Billy Kaplan remains the biological son of the Kaplans, his soul mirrors that of his mother. Though he was happy with his current family, this reunion helped him better understand his magical abilities and their connection to the Scarlet Witch. As Wiccan, he developed a knack for chaos magic, often channeling Wanda's hex-like powers with precision, and looking to her for comfort and guidance. Over the years, Billy's power has grown so much that he was even considered for the title of Sorcerer Supreme, and he's even held that mantle in alternate future stories. It has also been revealed that he's destined to become the Demiurge, which is a physical embodiment of magic itself. The position is similar to the Sorcerer Supreme, but it is held by different magic users at different times. Most recently, Billy has taken on the role of court mage and royal consort to his husband, Teddy Altman, aka Hulkling. For those who don't know, Teddy is now the emperor of the Kree Skrull Empire, which has recently been combined in the comics. They have a truly iconic love story. You guys should actually consider checking it out. How powerful is Billy Maximoff Kaplan as Wiccan? Billy Kaplan, or Maximoff, has gone through an incredible transformation over the years. He started as a young boy with basic electrokinesis, but has now evolved into a powerful reality warping figure. In the beginning, his abilities were pretty limited. He could manipulate electricity, but had a hard time understanding the full extent of his magical potential. But all of that changed when he discovered a unique style of spellcasting that evolved a self-actualization mantra, inspired by a book in his world that's similar to The Secret. His early training with the Young Avengers definitely helped him refine his skills, but it was not until some key moments in the new Avengers series in 2015 that he truly understood his potential. During this storyline, Wiccan's powers attracted the attention of the Asgardian trickster Loki, who was actually the one to recognize him as the Demiurge, a powerful being capable of reshaping reality with almost godlike abilities. In these standout story arcs, Billy's reality manipulation powers grow significantly, allowing him to perform incredible feats that can alter the very fabric of the universe. One memorable moment even has him hovering outside the comic book itself, in a very fun meta twist. His evolution is further highlighted during many important battles where he used his magic to tackle existential threats, proving himself to be both a very, very powerful superhero in the complex Marvel universe. It is this impressive display of power that has led many within the story to believe that Billy could be the next Sorcerer Supreme. As you know, recently, Wiccan's journey has led him into more cosmic adventures within the Marvel universe. As the Prince Consort of the Kree-Skrull Alliance, Billy's influence extends beyond his impressive powers as an important contributor within intergalactic politics and conflicts. His role showcases not just his magical abilities, but also his importance in navigating the complexities of these otherworldly dynamics. With that being said, how do you think the MCU would set up Wiccan's character for the future? Do you guys have any bizarre theories? Let us know in the comment box below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a good one and see you next time.
You got this. Oh God. Oh God.